How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the Vancouver Canucks franchise mode, episode number 35, moving into the 2032 draft and off season. In the last one, coming off of our best season in franchise history, going 57, 23, and 2 in the regular season, we, in the postseason, fell in round number 2 in 7 games to the eventual Western Conference champion Anaheim Ducks. In round 1, we took down the Blues in 6, then fell in 7 of the Ducks. It was one of the worst showings in franchise mode history here on the channel in terms of AI gameplay. With the goals that were given up, the decisions that were made, the penalties that were taken, it was... I don't know even what the word is. I blocked it out of my mind. But I'm going to try and never think about Quinn Hughes skating the puck into his own empty net when we're down by 1 in Game 7 of a playoff series ever again. I just gotta let it go. You might be thinking, oh, is that why we haven't had a Canucks episode in almost 2 weeks? That's not quite the case. Maybe I did need a little bit of time to recover from that, but that's not exactly the case. Yes, it was some of the worst AI we've ever seen in channel history, but the reason was, on top of a little bit of congestion and stuff like that, we've been getting our newest live stream series off the ground, so that took a little bit of time to get going as well, with over 25 created players. Monday nights here on the channel, you won't want to miss it, live at 7 p.m. Eastern, unless there's a Stanley Cup Final game going on, then it's usually 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern. We have our brand new Arizona Coyotes fantasy draft franchise mode. The details and all that in the top right corner. Check out the introductory episode for the storyline in that. But essentially, the league's been taken over by a group of former Coyotes led by Shane Doan, new NHL commissioner. Block the move to Utah. GM data is coming in to take over, and the league has been put into a fantasy draft so as to balance out the playing field. So that's our fantasy draft franchise mode on Mondays with the Coyotes. We're not leaving Arizona. On Tuesdays, MLB The Show 24 with the Expos. And on Thursdays, once again, NHL 24, our expansion San Francisco Starfleet series. So that's now 3 live and 4 total, if you include Canucks here, franchise mode series here on the channel, the most we've ever had ongoing at the same time. It's an exciting time. Hope you're enjoying it. Subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that if you haven't already. So that being said, moving into this off season, we're getting ready to gear up for 2032-33, which will be year number 10 here in this franchise mode. So far, we have 2 Stanley Cups, a good young core with other veterans we've been with the entire time. Pedersen 33, Hughes 32, Tippett, well, we haven't had him the whole time, but he is 33 as well. Ratu, we've had him the whole time, he's 29. Lekaramak, we've had him the whole time, he's 27. Other new pieces we brought in, Lundqvist, 20 years old on a 100-point season this last year. Markstrom, 25, 92 overall. Arvidsson was a big surprise this year, 80 overall defenseman, who ended up growing to an 83 playing second pair minutes. Good young piece there now, who's a 25-year-old top 4 defenseman. And aside from that, other guys who are more fringe, so we'll really be looking at growth this offseason. Does Tiyupkin grow, and by how much? Christian Wallace, does he grow, and by how much? Montoya, Bouillon, a big question mark as well. In the system, it gets even more complicated. Sedor, Quint, Dominguez, Kravchenko, Alexandrov, Beaulieu, Bomick. I'd say down to Bomick are all question marks. Bomick has been an incredible piece. Maybe not incredible, he's been a very solid piece in the AHL for a lot of years. He's a guy who would want to make a jump. And our unsigned players are all, we have a solid number of them as well. Arcabello, 75 overall, 45 goals as a grinder with Sarnia. Then you have Beaufet, over 100 points, well over 100 points. Hugo Beaufet in the QMJHL. So our unsigned prospects look very, very interesting, especially the defensemen. Good to see some of those in the system. And we want to be thinking, yes, our top 6 is solid, but who's coming into that bottom 6 to have a chance to grow and eventually be in the top 6? Who are we giving our bottom 6 spots to so as to facilitate growth? So that being said, it's pretty much the major question about this offseason. Yes, we have a couple of players to look at extending. We'll want to make sure that we get an extension for Noah Dobson, even though that's going to be very expensive. Forsberg and Hanifin are both likely walking. Bouillon's a question mark. And then aside from that, it's pretty much depth. So we'll have the money, as we have over 18 million to play with right now. But our biggest questions will come at the end of this episode when we see the offseason growth and try to think about who's going to get a chance to be in this lineup come 2032-33. So that being said, there are my initial thoughts on the offseason that we're about to go into. The draft should be pretty straightforward, but as always, the AGMs had a lot to say, so let's turn to them. So first off, we just got to say it, starting with Flamewing, who said, the sequence of the Rasmussen chair disaster, Hughes' own goal, and Hanifin skating away from the puck may be the worst hockey I've ever seen EA produce, and that is saying something. So Flamewing, thanks for throwing that out there. Just one last reminder before we're in next postseason and we get flashbacks, but for now, we'll start forgetting about it as much as possible. Now, getting to the actual offseason suggestions, when you think about the current team, as I just showed you, you got Noah Hanifin, who's expiring, Philip Hronik, who's getting older, he's going to be in the last year of his contract on defense. Then for the forwards, we got Owen Tippett, who is the kind of the odd man out in the top 6. He's been a consistent 60-point guy. He's coming off of like a career worst with us, at least in the last few years, with 44 points. So in Cheating Heel's comment, Cheating Heel, starting off, of course, EAAI at its best. But moving on, we probably need some kind of retool on defense. I'm ready to pull the plug on the Bouillon experiment. We should either trade him for a younger prospect or for a top draft pick. I don't know about top, but it could probably fetch a second, I would think. We can move on from Hanifin and either replace him via trade/UFA or give his spot to Lebedev or even Quint if we think that either of them, or especially Quint, could grow. Otherwise, he can also get traded as there are 2 other youngsters pushing for spots. We might also look at moving Hronik as he's not getting younger. I don't see us extending him next year as an 82 overall or less, being 35 years old. Shame that there isn't a good right D potential UFA. Maybe Guliev is a better option, but isn't super appealing. Maybe even Jordan Spence on a 3 or 4 year deal. We might want to explore the trade blocks. Maybe this is where we use a Bouillon or a Quint as trade baits to replace Hronik, and we trade Hronik for whatever. Up front, should we trade Tyupkin if he's not showing growth? The NHL-ready late first-round guys never really amount to anything when we draft them. I'd also let Forsberg walk, and maybe we look at upgrading on Tippett after his lackluster season. I think our first 5 forwards, of course, not top 6, are locks, but getting a solid 6th could boost our chances. If he drops to UFA, I might look to do a 1-year big money offer to Nathan MacKinnon and trade Tippett so we wouldn't be tied long-term for the upcoming extensions we'll have to give. Other options could be Yurov, Perfetti, or Svensson, depending on their asking price and how they sim. It's been another solid season, but we unfortunately can't win them all. At least we still have a very solid and young-ish core, so our window is still open for years to come. Couple of upgrades here and there, plus getting a bit younger, and we're back on top. Go Nucks. Thank you for all that, Cheating Heel. Great suggestions as always. So, as I showed you earlier in the forward core, if you could call it, Owen Tippett in the top 6 is kind of the odd man out. The reason he's been there is because he's always been putting up 60 plus points. 60, 68, 62, he's been that guy. But now this past season was a big drop off. 20 goals, 24 assists, 44 points. Still a plus 14, still 13 power play points. Ice time was the same though, so I'm not sure what the big issue was. He was no longer playing with Stefan Markstrom, but now he was playing with Elias Pettersson, and Pettersson still had a great season. So Tippett was a surprise. He signed on for 3 more years at $6 million, so it wouldn't be the craziest contract to try and move. Not like he has 6 or 7 years at 31. 3 years at 33 wouldn't be horrible, but it wouldn't be the craziest trade value either. We'd probably be trading him at his lowest value. Now, I wouldn't want to do that if we're not forced to, but as Cheating Heel said, if one of those big free agents drop and we have the money to think about maybe a 1 or 2 year thing before we have more extensions to give out, then maybe that becomes a possibility. I'm not going to trade Tippett at the draft, but potentially I could rationalize something happening if the right free agent were to be there. For example, here's 87 overall Nathan MacKinnon. So that's a question mark. Another question mark in terms of the trades, as we saw at the end of last episode in the activity feed, Seider, Necas, Sveshkov, and McGroarty all on the trade blocks. We can't go in and see them until the draft, but Martin Necas could be an option. A few people left comments saying maybe go after Necas. One even said maybe as third-line center. The thing is, I don't think anybody really knew, including myself, what his overall was and what his contract situation was. Necas is actually an 89 overall in Carolina with a decent amount of trade value, and also 2 more years at $10.79 million. So he would definitely be, if we acquired him, a second line or a top 6 player, not a third liner, but it also cost quite a bit of trade value to get him. And not to mention the $10.79 million, which we don't really have right now, if we're going to be giving, 10 to Noah Dobson, and more extensions are on the horizon. Not much for 33-34, but into 34-35, Tyupkin, Wallace, Arvidsson, Lekkerimäki, Ratu in a couple of years from now. That's going to be a big time for extension. So maybe we could do a 1 or 2 year deal. I don't mind the Necas money so much. It's more the trade value that it would take to acquire him. Plus, it would be a guarantee that Tippett moves out. Is that the worst thing? No. But I'm also not feeling a tremendous amount of pressure to move him. If he continues to struggle by the halfway point of next season, then yes, I'd say he gets up until the halfway point and then we would move him by then. But at the halfway point of next season, if he's back on a 55, 60-plus-ish point pace, I'm happy to keep him. I don't want to force a move just after 1 bad season, but if the right player were there, I would consider it. Is Necas that guy with his trade value and how he would cost $4 million more? We could afford it, but I'm also not so sure about it. So all I have to say, sorry to spend so much time on this comment, we'll definitely have to see what happens in free agency for the forwards. And on defense, Hronek, I wouldn't want to move him yet. He is Quinn Hughes' rock. Can he continue to play top pair as an 82 overall? We'll see. But even though he's making $8.25 million, he's had a big contract. He's been with us our entire franchise mode so far, 2 rings. I'd want to do right by him and keep him for that last year of his contract if possible. Especially considering that there's some sort of no movement clause in there and he's been loving life in Vancouver. I don't think it would make a ton of sense. We are freeing up money with Hanifin and even roster spots with Hanifin moving out and possibly even Bouillon. So if we have some permutation of Hughes, Dobson, Arvidsson, Wallace in the top 4, then third pair is something of Hronek and somebody else, or Hronek's on that top pair still, I think I'd be okay with that. Especially considering that in 1 year, we'll have Kravchenko, Alexandrov, those guys coming up on the right side. So don't need to go out and sign a Spence or a Gulyev for 3 or 4 years, when Kravchenko might even be pushing as soon as next season. On the left side, maybe Quint plays on that third pair on the left. I don't know. So sorry to spend so much time on that comment, but those are the thoughts I would say for forwards and defense. Next comment coming from Ramses, who said, so Noah Hanifin pulls one of the worst defensive efforts I've seen and has the audacity to ask for $5+ million? Send this man to the Shadow Realm. That's exactly what I guess we'll be doing, but with, a care package on the way, as we've enjoyed having him here in Vancouver. I agree that some lineup changes will have to wait until we see the growth from some young players, but we also have to think about Owen Tippett and Philip Forsberg. How much does Forsberg regress in the offseason, and are we keeping him? As much as we loved having him, he could get some great third-line scoring. How much is he asking for now, and how much do we have to anticipate regression over the offseason? That's definitely something that I would have to factor in. Does Tippett stay another year here, or do we package him with some extra draft picks for a roster player? If we did, I would think that it has to be someone capable of playing on the second line, as the bottom 6 looks to be quite a bit of a jam next year, as that's what we just saw previously. We have some questions here, but I think this team still has what it takes to be a dynasty. Go Nucks. Thank you, Ramses. Very well said. Appreciate your thoughts. And one more comment coming in from Gavin, who said, alright, I need to see a compilation of data moments now. EA is back at it again, pulling off their best 2024 IRL Canucks impression. A pathetic effort in Game 7. Sigh. Despite Hughes' empty net blunder, I'm proud of him for the Norris, as yes, we forgot to mention that, he won another Norris Trophy this season, and you have to imagine Jones was a close second for the Vezina. Absolutely. Great year from Hunter Jones, too. Love to see our prospect pool filling up again. Voinov, Arkabello, Kravchenko, etc. are exciting prospects. You never know when you found the next Jace Wakabayashi, a Data 72 Hall of Famer, mind you. Definitely some players pushing for spots next season. For the draft, please stay away from Dowd. We know all those 70-ish overall defensemen develop, so we don't want any of those guys who are too close in terms of NHL ETA at the end of the first round, I suppose. And we also do have a logjam at goaltending. Trading Bykov or Esh is obvious, but we can always wait until the preseason to see who had the better summer. Also, I know his penalties are bad, but I would love to see Raphael Beaulieu on the 4th line for the rest of the franchise mode. I agree. In a perfect world, that would be it. I can just sense a clutch playoff goal sometime in the future from him. A real glue guy. He's earned a spot. I also think our top 6 should stay the same. One bad year does not define Tippett just yet. The defense is very difficult. Dobson is a must, but with Hanifin's contract, we may be forced to keep Bouillon, and that's the question as well. We're not really impressed with Bouillon, but do we keep him because of the money situation and how he does provide, at his best, 20, 25 plus points, and a guy who can play 15 plus minutes. But just he'll never grow from 79. Hopefully not, because Hanifin is a good veteran presence and his retirement will line up perfectly with the ascension of Alexandrov and Kravchenko into full-time roles. Again, I agree, I would love to keep Hanifin for as long as possible, but for $5+ million, as Ramses just said, with those defensive blunders, with his regression and all that, we've loved having him here, but I don't think we can afford $5+ million to him or whatever it might be, 4.7, and then 8.25 to Hronek for guys who are aging and not eating as many minutes as they once were. But overall, as Gavin finishes off, I think we should still just bank on growth and make changes as necessary. Sorry for the super scattered thoughts today. If anyone's sorry, it's me. Don't worry about it, Gavin. Have a great day and see you at the draft. Go Nucks. Thank you for all that, Gavin. Well said again. Some good viewpoints from everybody. So taking all this into consideration, there's not much to do in terms of personnel changes at the draft. It'd be more July 1st or once we get to the preseason. We want to extend Noah Dobson ASAP. Forsberg probably walks unless his demand really changes, but to pay him $4-ish million for top 9 potential, who knows if he's going to be an 81 by the time season starts? Could he continue to be at the pace that he had this year? I don't think so. On top of the fact that we have a lot of young players who can be fighting for spots in that bottom six, it might be a big youth bottom six with the continued core top six. That could be it. Noah Hanifin as well. This guy he's making 4.2, now it's 5.2. Come on, let's be serious here, Noah Hanifin. So if anything, maybe we trade their rights, I don't know. But Bouillon's the real question mark on defense. We have Quint on the left side, we have Lebedev on the left side. I think I'm ready to move on from Bouillon. Not that he hasn't shown me enough, but, well, kind of that's part of it, but more the fact that he'll never grow. 44 points in almost 200 games, a plus 14 in his career. He averages 14, 18 of ice time. He's just never going to get to the point that we would want him to be as a guy who was drafted 12th overall. He's now 22. He's still the same overall as he was the day he was drafted, unless maybe he was 78, I think. So I think maybe we can cut Bouillon, give Quint a season, and see what happens with him. Quint, another guy who probably will never grow, but let's at least give him a chance in the NHL. Bouillon's been getting his chance. Although I'll admit we didn't give him like a full season of second pair to really see what he could do, it was never really enough to even get to that point. So, all that being said, thank you for all those comments. I've taken them all in. I will synthesize them into my thoughts probably more on July 1st here, because at the draft, we're only going to be looking at minor trades. That might be the Bouillon trade, but nothing really aside from drafting players. So when it comes to picks up for grabs, no pick until pick 16 is on the block. So it doesn't look like we'll be trading up. Neither do we really have much to trade up with. Maybe Michael Rasmussen is a piece. That was one that a few people mentioned in their comments as well. So if Rasmussen were to move, as we were saying, someone's kind of got to be the scapegoat in some way. Not a lot of value from him. 82 overall, 2.35 million. We probably need some sort of third line center replacement if that's the case. Because again, if we're looking at our forwards and sorting by overall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there you go. Third line, maybe Podkolzin gets back onto the third line. Okay, no problem. Podkolzin, Tyupkin, Montoya, probably with Tyupkin being center. He could play center. I remember he has 79 faceoffs, so that could be our third line right there. So maybe that's not a big issue. Then fourth line, Goldman, Sador, Dominguez, and Beaulieu in the mix. And maybe Bomick if he can get some growth. That would probably be it. So I don't think we're looking at bringing in a forward. If anything, we're moving out Rasmussen. So we'll wait and see what kind of value we need to make those picks. First overall is a franchise player. Yes, was it Maximus? Yeah, Maximus Wellwood. What a name. 83 overall, medium franchise to the Panthers. Franchise sniper going first overall, 5'9". Incredible. Second pick, Tulipov, Estonian, I believe. No, Ukrainian. So we have the 28th overall pick, I think we have. So we definitely, I pinned a few players who had been mentioned in some comments, especially Gen Z McKenzie's comment. Gen Z went very in-depth on the players that we should be targeting. I went ahead and pinned all of them. So if we're going to be selecting with our first round pick, it would probably be to trade down, or we just take no, he's at 30 now. We would just take Langdon. Dominic Langdon, 6'4", low elite, 3-year away defensive defenseman. Or it could be, it wouldn't be a trade up, eh? No, it wouldn't be a trade up. If anything, it would be a trade down for the other low elite, who is Dillman. No, it's Dowd. Caleb Dowd. But as we were saying earlier, he's 1 year away, and that could be a bit scarier in terms of will he ever grow. NHL ready is what's scariest. Could 1 year away not be as scary? But we've been burned too many times. So Langdon's probably the guy. Other defensive defenseman with medium top 4, I'd rather go for the low elite. And that's about it. So I think we'll just go ahead and sim to our pick at pick number 28. So if we see who went here in round 1, Maximus going first, Tulipov, Durocher, 82 overall, goes third. Ooh, the Sharks missed on that one, but maybe they needed a center instead. Brennan, Borrow, some medium elites going here. Medium top 6 forwards, some higher overall medium top 6 forwards, and then into the usuals. After that, top 9s, ugly. All right, so if we go ahead and make our selection at 28th overall, it would be for Langdon. I think I'm pretty comfortable with that, so let's head up to the podium. With the 28th overall selection in the 2032 NHL entry draft, the Vancouver Canucks are proud to select from the Medicine Hat Tigers, Dominic Langdon. Welcome to Team Bello. You are 64 overall low elite. Oh, yeah, I can do that. At least that gives me some hope in one day getting some growth. Defensemen have a hard enough time, so maybe it still won't do anything, but I don't mind throwing him in the system. We have some guys on the right side, but not as much on the left side, so I don't mind throwing in one guy on the left whatsoever. Let's end off the round here, sim to next round, and let's see what we get at the end. Medium top 60, medium top 4s, that's what we expected. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so our next selection, or the next guy that we are targeting at least, if we go by the pinned players, would be at 82. Is that it? Backman? No, 65. So here, Forbes. Franklin Forbes, gem centerman, medium top 6 potential, 3 years away, 19, which isn't great, but he is a gem. Probably as valuable, just a year older, as the guys who drafted in the middle of the first round. I don't know, Franklin Forbes at 65. We are picking at 60. Or we could just trade down and take Magnus Backman. We know we'll be taking Backman. Maybe, do we take Forbes and trade up for Backman? Or do we just trade down and take Backman and get a pick next year instead of taking Forbes? I think we could take Franklin Forbes. I don't think it would be a bad idea. So if we sim to pick 60, we'll take Franklin Forbes. We could trade down maybe a little bit. Aaron Kane, the goalie, is still here, but we have our eyes on a goalie later on. Some top four defensemen and top 6 forwards are in here. Would it be crazy to trade down? Any teams that want to make a little bit of a swap? Might be a bit risky to trade exactly for pick 65. Plus, the Islanders don't want to trade it, so it might be a bit risky to do that. The game always gives us such trouble when we're trying to do things like that, but maybe we, I don't know. Let's see. Could I squeeze a 7th out of you next season to move up 3 spots? No, they aren't interested whatsoever. How about I trade you 216 for 191? Okay, great. So I get to move a 7th for a 6th. Okay, I can do that. So if I'm moving down 3 spots, I get a 7th for a 6th. I can do it, no problem. And the Ducks took the medium league goalie, so we'll see how that comes back to bite us in history. Okay, so pick 63. Now we'll go ahead and take Franklin Forbes. Franklin the Turtle, welcome aboard, buddy. You are 66 overall, medium top 6. Exactly what those guys in the middle of the first round look like, just that he's 19. Two-way forward. Hopefully he can become something of a bottom 6 mainstay. Who knows? Franklin Forbes. Next pick at 87. We have to trade up just a little bit to look maybe at 80. So this is 64. 65 is pick number 1 here. We could go for pick 80 from the Avalanche, which is pick 16. Would that be too tight? Pick 80... We should be able to go for pick 80, another centerman in Magnus Backman. I don't mind getting a lot of one position, really, because who knows whoever becomes anything. So, pick 80. Let's see if the Avalanche can do this for us. Maybe here is where we make a trade. Do they want Bouillon? They want Bouillon. So, how about I give you 87 and Bouillon, because I don't think there's anybody else that I really want. Yeah, I'll give you 87 and Bouillon, because there's no one else exactly in this range. And I'll take a 3rd this year and a 2nd next year. Maybe even a little bit more. Can we squeeze in a 7th this year as well? A 3rd and a 7th this year and a 2nd next year. So a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 7th for a 3rd now in Bouillon. So essentially, swap 3rds and a 2nd and a 7th for Bouillon. What do you say, Colorado? Trade accepted. Okay. All right, Maxime Bouillon. Merci beaucoup, mon ami. Never quite worked out. Good luck in Colorado. They wanted you. They seem to have a need for you there. Wasn't enough space for you here, so we wish you all the best of luck. Almost 200 games played as a Canuck. Thank you for your service, and good luck in Colorado. We'll see you around, buddy. Now we can go ahead and make pick number 80. Always great to get a pick next year as well. And we get to add in also a low top 6 in Jim Lampman. Great name. We'll take Magnus Backman, the medium elite 6'4" centerman, 19, probably 5 years away, right? Yeah. But I'll always be happy for medium elite potential. And he's actually, you know what? 61. 5 years away usually means closer to the mid-50s, even low 50s. But I can definitely do that. 61 overall. Thank you very much. Medium elite? Yeah. Team got scared by that ETA, but it wasn't even that bad in the end. Anybody else that we would have maybe wanted to go for that other pick that we had? No, not really. No, I'm okay with what we did there. So our next pick comes at pick number 97. Anyone else who we want here? Mikhail Habibulin, 3 years away. Again, another centerman, though. We're getting a lot of centermen here. Low top 6, Tom Benson, a gem, 4 years away. He's 17. That's potential. 97. No one really interests me at 97 itself, though. So either we go for Benson, or we trade down, take the medium league goalie at 109 here, Connor Hogan. Doesn't really impress me that he's 5 years away and 19. But who knows what we're going to need 5 years from now. So we could trade down for 109-ish. Yeah, we could do that. I think that's okay. This is pick 81. So I'll sim to pick 97. First pick of round 4. So again, just to see... No, nothing really here that interests me. That gem 17-year-old could have been something, but I didn't really want to trade up. So Hogan at 109. Only a few more plays. Yeah, we'll be okay. So we'll trade down. Let's go pick 107 from the Maple Leafs. And you know what? Here's where I'm going to send Michael Rasmussen and get picks next season again. So do they want Michael Rasmussen? If they don't, I'll find a different team probably. Hold on. And they do. All right, perfect. So Rasmussen and pick 97 for pick 107. And what can we squeeze next season? Can I get it? Would it be crazy to say a third next year? A third and a fourth? All right, perfect. A third and a fourth. Thank you very much. So essentially a third for Michael Rasmussen. Thank you for your service here. Stanley Cup ring for Michael Rasmussen. He had a great time here, but it's time to move on after it wasn't the greatest encore. So 2 fourths, a fifth, 2 sixths, and a seventh. And already next year, a first, 3 seconds, excuse me. A first, 3 seconds, 2 thirds, fifths, and a sixth. Nice. Very happy to see that for 2033. Okay, so now we're going to sim to pick 107. The Maple Leafs with their pick take a low top 9 forward. Pick number 107, we'll go ahead and take, after 2 fringe starters go, we'll take the medium elite Hogan. Connor Hogan, we'll go Hogan though, from the Calgary Hitmen, 52 overall, medium elite, and we'll see what happens in the long run. I'm not super hopeful, but you never know. Next pick at 124 now. Anything standing out to me? Medium top... Oh, yeah, we definitely want to look at Liam Henriksen. Medium top 6, two-way forward. Left winger. So, yeah, we could do a little trade-up to, like, 117, maybe. The Blues have back-to-back picks anyways, and one of them is 117, so that's perfect. Can I give you 124 and 129? A fourth and a fifth for a fourth now. And can I take a fourth next season? That'd be crazy. A fourth and a fifth now for a fourth now and a fourth next season? What do you say to this, St. Louis? Okay, cool. A fourth and a fifth for a fourth and a fourth. So we continue to stockpile the picks for next season, which would be very good. We had no fourth anyways, so that's great. All right, tidy little piece of business there. I'm impressed with myself. Usually it's such a huge hassle to make things happen with draft pick trades. But we'll go ahead and take Liam Henriksen from Liga, 6'3", two-way, potentially a two-way forward. Let's see. Welcome to Team Bello. You are medium top 6, yeah, two-way forward, 49 overall. Big project, but don't mind getting that potential in the system. Next pick at 188, especially if we look at our pinned players, who's left here. We actually, we want Springus. I shouldn't have traded that pick, but it's okay. We can trade back for one here. I would have had to trade up anyways. So we'll want to get Jeremy Springus, medium top 4, gem defenseman. Then Pittis, Jesse Pittis, and Alexander Sadikov. So 2 more picks after that. If we sort by potential, though, there's some other medium top 4 Ds out there, no? Even McGrattan. I forgot to pin McGrattan. We want to get another low elite there in him. He's 20, yeah, but he's low elite. So I wouldn't mind getting both. I know we had, yeah, there was, I think Gen Z in his comment had said, don't bother going after him, he's 20. Eric D'Agostini, 5 years away at 20, medium top 6, I'll pass. McGrattan, Maximus McGrattan, great name from the QMJHL. We'll see if it works out. We'll see if it works out. Even McGillney, low top 6, Artem McGillney, 17. There's a few guys here in the 5th round. I wouldn't mind McGillney and, what's his name, who we had just pinned a second ago. Springus and McGillney. So you know what, let me undo kind of what I did there. So I'll take the 4th from St. Louis next season, and I'll take a 4th from Dallas. Now, can I squeeze a 7th from you as well? A 4th and a 7th from Dallas? No, too far off. Maybe if we had the rights to a player, can I give you Noah Hannafin's rights? Do you want Noah Hannafin's rights? You do. Okay, the rights to Noah Hannafin and a 4th. To Dallas for a 4th and a 7th? Still too far off. Gerber, throw Gerber in. Come on, there's some value there. Oh, come on. Now I was just complimenting myself, and now I have all the headaches. Boy. Okay, so I'll give you Hannafin and a 5th for just the 4th, then. How about that? A 5th next season, and Hannafin for a 4th right now. All right, that's better. Okay, thank you very much, Dallas. There you go. And with that pick at 122, we'll be able to select another defenseman. There you go. So Noah Hannafin, thank you for your service. Didn't get to highlight that. We'll go back and look at his stats in a moment. Jeremy Springus from the SHL from Moto, the medium top 4 defensive defenseman, 49 overall, yikes, but a gem, and 17 as well, so lots of time to see what happens. Worst case, as I always say, trade bait. So just a quick goodbye now to Noah Hannafin. We trade his rights to Dallas. Whether he signs or not, he won't be with us next season. Wow, what a time we've had with him. So we acquired him from the Flames in year number 2, correct? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 of our 9 seasons with Noah Hannafin here. 8 years with Hannafin. That's like Data 782 Hall of Fame nominee type of thing, or at least honorable mention. 8 years here in Vancouver, 2 Stanley Cup rings, a mainstay, a rock in the top 4 defense, 619 games played as a Vancouver Canuck, scoring 161 points, and in the playoffs, most of his career here with Vancouver, yeah, so we just have to minus 27 games. So 119 postseason games played with the Canucks, 9 goals and 31 assists for 40 points. in his career as a Canuck in the postseason, and like we said, 2 Stanley Cup rings. Great plus minus, or at least solid enough plus minus, I would think. Yeah, good plus minus year in and year out for the most part. Plus 36 that 1 year. Solid couple seasons with Philip Hronek before he kind of went playing with a mix and match partner usually. Noah Hanifin, we thank you for everything that you did here in Vancouver. Thanks for the 2 rings as well, and we wish you all the very best. All right, now we have a couple more picks to make if we sort by pin players. I think we'll probably just go after the last few guys here. 204, 232 can probably just sim to our selection. Yeah, so we'll go to 188. At 188, we'll take the first guy. That being Jesse Pittis, not Jaden Pittis, Jesse Pittis from the WHL. Again, 5 years away, but we always love that low elite potential. You never know when you might hit one of those gems. 53 overall, low elite, thank you very much. And then not long later here, pick 191. Oh, wait, hold on! Oh, Peters. Guy Peters is low elite. Okay, whew, I thought that was our guy, the other low elite that we wanted. Going right after. And then we'll go ahead and take Sadikov, Estonian playing over in Russia. Low elite 2 AD, thank you very much. Low elite 48 overall. Is that our last pick? No, we still have 208 because we acquired that other one. Yes. So with 208, we could take the 20-year-old with the low elite potential, or we could say we'd go after somebody else. Anybody else with potential? 2-bar medium elite. Gilbert Guite, I don't think so. It could go for a low top 6 forward. Anyone who's like 18, 17, Silverberg. Torsten Silverberg is a low top 6, ranked 290, as opposed to McGrattan, low elite, but 2 years older and still 5 years away, just like Silverberg is. There's even a player from France here, Abel Hoffman, 20 again, 6'3", 5 years away. We'll bank on the potential. We'll go potential over age. McGrattan. Probably neither of them become anything. So Maximus McGrattan. Great name as well. Welcome to the organization. 56 overall. Low elite. All right. So there's the draft, ladies and gentlemen. I think it was a pretty straightforward draft. Moving out the rights to Hanifin, we move out Michael Rasmussen. Made some trades to acquire picks for next season. Langdon, Forbes, Backman, Hogan, Henriksen, Springus, Pittis, Sadikov, and McGrattan. Welcome to the Vancouver Canucks organization. So now we move into the re-sign phase. I'll be very curious to see if that changes the demands for Noah Hanifin especially. I'll take care of the expiring contracts for the Scouts in just a moment. I really want to see what Noah Hanifin is asking for. If you look at all expiring, we have $17.095 million to play with exactly, and he wants pretty much the same as before. We probably go short term on Dobson. I don't know, but he wants 4 years. He's 32. He wants 4 years. I would go 3 years on Dobson. I know it's going to be costly, but he has been worth the cost or worth the price tag so far. At 85%, it brings him down to 10.285. So we could probably just say 10.3 for 3 years, giving him $30.9 million. So 10.3, close to $31 million at 32 years of age. Biggest contract that he's gotten so far. He's proved his worth here in Vancouver. Let's see if he wants it. 10.3 for 3 years. We knew that he'd be costly, but I think he's worth it. If you've forgotten what Noah Dobson has done since coming here with the Islanders, 30 points, 40 points, sometimes 50 points, but going downhill. 11 points on pace for 20-something when we got him. Then, bang, 35 and 40. And the next year, 60 and 82. And I believe a franchise record for plus-minus as a plus 52 as he was playing 22-12 of ice time per night. So Dobson, we're going to hope that he can continue that pace or at least something close to it. Philip Forsberg would be wanting $4 million. We could bring him down into the threes, absolutely. But I don't know. There's just so... we went through the names before. We had to move out Rasmussen just to have room. The third line is full. We can't do it. Forsberg, I love you. Thanks for coming here. You added another Swedish player to the mix. It was almost a Swede victory here in Vancouver. 17 points in 18 games. He was crazy. But in the playoffs, 7 points in 13. Still not bad, but -3. 3 of his goals on the power play as well. We gotta leave some spots for the youth, and he'll find his money elsewhere. Philip Forsberg, thanks for being here. It was almost a sweet victory. It was a fun time having you. Akuratu, brother of Aturatu, woo, $2 million. No, we can't afford him any longer. Stanley Cup champion, Akuratu, great storyline. We've had him for 5 years now in the organization, joining his brother Atu, who's a top 6 forward for us. He has played parts of 3 seasons in the NHL, 20 points in 87 games. We've really liked having him in that depth role as the brother, but for $2 million, no can do. So Sador, Alexandrov, no problem. All these guys will get their contracts. We'll let go of a few of them, but I'll take care of all that off screen. Unsigned, it's just... Even, who's Kuka? Tiro Kuka. Yeah, it's true. Second round pick last year. No unsigned players who we would sign just yet. And for the goaltenders, we have Rainer Muller needs a contract. Yeah, we'll definitely get him signed right now. Oh, that's true. Before the draft, I think he was wanting even less. Before the draft, I think he wanted 2 years at 850. Oh man, that's brutal. So we'll qualify him and hope that contract comes back later on. The one thing that I forgot. And Kabanov will get his contract as a medium elite goalie in the system as well. We probably got to move out one of Bykov or Esh between those two. And Muller can continue as backup to Hunter Jones. But getting him 2 years, 850 would have been great. Hopefully that comes back to us in the re-sign phase, or at least once July 1st hits. I'll go ahead and take care of the scout contracts now, and then we can look towards getting to July 1st. Okay, so advancing a day now, scouts and some players should be signed on. All right, so Noah Dobson, interested in principle, doesn't like the dollar value because we've changed the duration. Instead of going 4 years, we brought it down to 3 years. We could probably give him 85% for 4 years, but for 3, he wants a little bit more. So then that becomes the question. Do we want to go 4 and get him 85%, or we pay more, but we get to save a year and don't have to pay him when he's 36? That'll be a question. Then a bunch of prospects signing on. Very good. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Lovely. Fantastic. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So now if we look at all expiring, and that just leaves us with, there we go, Dobson. Markstrom wants 1.2 million, so we won't be getting that. And then for the goalies, it's just Rainer Muller. So it just comes down pretty much to Noah Dobson here. We have the money now, but I'm scared. I'd almost want to go 2 years, but at this point in his career, he wants to have some insurance with the incredible performances that he's put up. He wants to get paid, rightfully so. The value isn't really different between 12.1 and 12.125. So you know what? We wouldn't really be saving any money. It's just the concept of giving that extra year. And I think I'm going to try giving it to him. So 4 years at 10.3. Actually, it has to be 10.325 if it's going up just a little bit. If he doesn't like 85% for 4 years, I'm going to go 3 years and try to pay him more. But 10.325 for 4 years would be what we offer him. It's a bit longer than I'd want to pay him for, but he's been so incredible that it makes sense, I think. So no Dobson, 4 years at 10.325. That's what high-end defensemen cost at this point in 2032, with the salary cap being $106.5 million. Let's see what he thinks about it. So scout signing back on, very good. And still not enough to entice me. All right, so now it comes down to just purely the dollar value. Okay, so let's go back to it again. Let's try bringing it down to 3 years. And maybe we bump it up to 10.65. I don't want to get too, I don't want to risk it too tight here towards July 1st. 10.65 for 3 years. So 350K more, but we get to save that year. What does Noah Dobson think about that? More scouts signing on, very good. And still interested in principle. Now, again, the financials, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be dicey. This is going to be dicey. Well, now what if I do 4 years at that same... What if I go 10.75 for 4 years? 10.75 for 4 years. What do you say? He wants the extension. It's now, what, June 28th, going to June 29th? Noah! Come on! Not enough to entice. This guy, come on, you're 32. I know you're not in the retirement home just yet. Thankfully, Hronek's going to be off the books soon. Hannafin's off the books now. We can't risk it too long, or he's going to go to free agency. 4 years, 11.15. Way more than I wanted to do. But again, keep in mind what defense costs. When going free agency, you'll see what defense are going for. Easy decision. Thank you, Noah Dobson. Sheesh. That leaves us with just under $7 million to play with, which is still more than enough that we need right now. And thankfully, with Hronek expiring next year, that'll give us more money. We'll see how many extension dollars we really have when July 1st hits. But the most important thing was getting Noah Dobson signed. Probably about $1 million more than we could have gotten him signed for at this point last season. But we didn't know that he would continue to be at that crazy pace. So I think it was a gamble we had to take. And in exchange for having more confidence in him, we pay him $1 million more. So I can live with that. Looking at extensions now, all expiring. So now on July 1st, we'll have next season, we have $14.2 million to play with next year, and really only Hronek to re-sign. It's the year afterwards going to be a lot more tight. So, no, actually Hunter Jones? No, Hunter Jones is still signed on. Good. So we still have to spend a little bit of money on Rainer Muller, but that won't really cost too much. Now, if we come to free agency, I'll look at scouts and everything in a moment. If we look in free agency, so there, look, Dansk, Para, these guys want 12, 13 plus million. Yes, they're younger, but that's the range that these guys want. If we look at the UFAs here on July 1st, let's start with the forwards, I suppose. Forwards, Cutter Gauthier, Patrick Laine want big, big money. If we want a one-year deal, Laine's there, but aside from that, not a lot of guys who want one-year deals. Bratt, Gunther, Heidel, Demidov, hey, look at that. Hanzik, Hayton, etc., 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 all the way down the list here. we'd be looking at maybe, like we said, if Tippett leaves and we look at top 6 forward, like if we're paying Owen Tippett $6 million, do we want to pay 2.5, maybe $3 million more for a Victor Eklund? There's some risk involved in that as well. To pay that much more for a bit of an unknown. While yes, Tippett had a down year, but he's more of a known as a 60-point guy when he's at his best. That's the question. On defense, yeah, these guys definitely want a lot as always. The biggest problem on defense is the player types. Even if we were to say, okay, Dobson and Hughes will play together now, on the second pair, we can't really have, can we, Arvidsson and Wallace, 2 offensive defensemen? It would make the most sense in terms of the overalls and the growth trajectory that we have in mind. But 2 offensive defensemen together would not go super well, and 3 out of 4 in our top 4 being offensive defensemen is also a little scary too. Arvidsson, though, did so well playing over 20 minutes per night. Can I really bump him down to play third pair? Then Wallace plays second pair with who? Someone we sign? Then where does Franklin Quint go? So that presents a bit of an issue. As much as there might be a guy or two we could think about, even like a 1-year deal type of thing, crazy numbers and not really enough space to do it. Goaltending, you got Devin Levi, 91 overall Devin Levi here. Dustin Wolf, $5.4 million. That's not a bad contract at all because, yeah, you look at the numbers and that tells you the story. If we look just at anyone who has potential, anything interesting here for younger guys. Gustavo Kelly, our former player Gustavo Kelly, we traded him to the Islanders. Yeah, 7 points in 21 games, then left unsigned. At least he got some NHL experience. That's nice to see. But I don't think there's anyone that I'd really go out and sign here. Dallas Johnson, another guy that we had, first-round pick in 2025 who never grew, has yet to play a game in the NHL. We traded him to Edmonton, 3 years in the AHL. Good numbers, still has not grown. So yeah, we'll probably pass on any of these potential players here. I don't think there's anyone that I'd really go after. Maybe in the top 6s. Has to be someone who's young enough. Trent Odeline might be somebody, but I think it's pretty full. We'll sign it come September to fill in the spots once we see which prospects are going where. But I don't think we're making a single move here at free agency. I don't think there's anyone that really stands out. Like the potential Nathan McKinnon type of guy has not dropped to free agency either. If we look at UFA forwards, starting my overall again, the big guys, the Cutter Gauthier is the 6x $14 million. I don't want to be in that kind of conversation. Maybe a Patrick Laine is interesting to me. 46 goals, 95-point season. Yeah, he's a consistent 90-plus point player. That's tempting to me. But at the same time, do I want to move out $6 million to then spend close to $12.5 million, pretty much below the entire salary cap? And yes, it's for a 1-year thing, but then after that one season, you're left with a hole in your top 6. And are you sure that Montoya or Tyupkin can fill it? Not necessarily. So there's risk in that as well. So I don't think we're making a single move here on July 1st in terms of free agency. What I will do is go and check out if there's any better scouts that we can sign. I think there's a couple of new coaches who we need in our system as well. So I'll take care of that and be back in a sec. All right, so some coaching offers sent out. Now I'm looking at Rainer Muller, who is still sitting here as an RFA. He wants 1 year, 1.22, but at 2 years down to 0.825. I don't want to go 3 years at 0.825. I think that would be probably a bit unrealistic. He just had his rookie season. He only had like 13 appearances. I think he was 9-3 or something like that in 12 appearances maybe. So I think committing to 3 years at league minimum when you're a 25-year-old backup goalie on one of the best teams is a bit excessive, but we could go definitely 2 years at 0.85, and we'll see. And we'll keep it one way, but 2 years at 0.85, and he should be content with that. And you would hope that that bridges us to whoever comes up in the system. Maybe not in 2 years, but gets us closer to, I guess, that bridge being figured out. Other players who are RFAs is just Beaulieu, is it? If I look at the art, Beaulieu and Markstrom. Yeah, Raphael Beaulieu. He wanted 1 year. Stay as an RFA. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. So 1 year, give him two-way. And I'll give him $950K, Raphael Beaulieu. And for Markstrom, the defenseman, 1 year, perfect. Always the same thing, like clockwork, these guys. 1 year, two-way. Even though they want 2 years, 1.225. They'll take the reverse once July 1st hits. Anyways. Okay, let's advance a few days now. Looking for the coaches. Happy. Okay, Michael Vandenbush is joining the team. Very good. Theo Morose is also joining in the AHL. Great news. Let me just do a little musical chairs with them over here. And here we are. So 62% staff chemistry in the NHL, 59% in the AHL. I usually keep that AHL goalie spot open as a buffer, but with the goalie prospects we have in our system, it would be a good idea to actually go out and get one. But it's always so hard to sign one. And this guy's better. Roman Nedved. All right, let's see if we can get him. Even though he's listed as I don't know why there's no one who's listed as goalie coaches. It's only assistants, even though you need to fill the goalie coach spot. So Roman, let's see if he's on board. And as we sit into next season, we'll make sure that we set the draft class for next year as well, always going through the number randomizer, number between 1 and 100. Last year the draft class was, I forgot what it was exactly. It was medium last year? Yeah, it was a medium class. So we'll go ahead and randomize a number here on the side. We'll say 0 to 20 is low, 21 to 79 is medium, and 80 to 100 is high. So randomizing on my computer right here, I get 6. Woo! All right, so it's going to be a low draft class quality after a medium draft. Low draft class quality. Not the end of the world, but also not great to see when we have a good amount of picks next draft. And for the generated prospect quality, I get 29, so we stay medium. So it would be a low-medium draft class for the 2033 draft. So I think that just about does it. Let's start submitting to next season and see what pops up as we go. All right, Roman Nedved's on board as AHL goalie coach. Great. Raphael Beaulieu is signed on. Rainer Muller, Oscar Markstrom. There you go. That's everybody. Perfect. So let's sim to next season, see what kind of growth we get. That's been our biggest question since this episode began, the first few minutes of this episode. What kind of growth will we get, and what kind of decisions will that force into the preseason and the season itself? So let's get to September. Everybody eat well, train hard, and I'll see you at training camp. Whew, what a fun summer that was. All right, here we are at training camp now. Let's check out the lines. What kind of growth did we get at Gary Roberts Academy for training? Let's see. I'm not seeing any differences. Sador from a 79 to an 80. Dominguez from a 77 to a 78. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is place everyone to where I think they would be if the season were to start today, and then we'll go from there. And here we are. So potentially we'd be looking at a first line of Lundqvist, Markstrom, Lekaramaki, 91, 92, and 86 with a +2. Second line, Tippett, Pettersson, and Ratu, 85, 93, 85 with a +1. Nothing changes in that top 6. On the third line, Montoya still at an 80. Tubkin at an 81, centering that line, even though he's a winger, but he has the face-off attributes. And Dorian Dominguez potentially making the jump onto the third line as a 22-year-old medium top 6, 78 overall sniper, 4.5-star shooting. Montoya's a playmaker, Tubkin the two-way forward. I can see that working out. Meanwhile, the fourth line, I want to have Podkolzin up here, which would also work, but Podkolzin at 81 with Tom Goldman, and here Junior Sador at an 80 overall as a playmaker, who's now, of course, like we had said earlier, medium top 6, former second-round pick, looking to make the jump as well. So a bit of a younger bottom 6 here for sure, as only Podkolzin, he's 31, everyone else is 23, 20, 22, 20, 22, there you go. On defense now, some growth, or some and regression, I guess, could be seen here. Hughes and Dobson, 92 and 90 overall respectively. Playing together gives them the +4, but as we've seen in the past, Quinn Hughes with Dougie Hamilton, Hughes falls apart. Quinn Hughes with Evan Bouchard, Hughes falls apart. Hughes with Hronek has been the only recipe that has worked, giving him his Norris trophies, giving him his point per game plus seasons. He had them, yes, then fell apart. Now 3 years being reunited with Hronek again, bang, back to it. Will being with Dobson hurt his production? That's a question. Arvidsson at an 83. Christian Wallace has also grown to an 83 for his sophomore season. Now listed as a top 4D. That's great news. But playing with Arvidsson does give that pairing a -1. On the third pair, Franklin Quint ready to make his NHL debuts up to a 79, probably the only growth he'll ever get, 78 to 79. Last year in the AHL, 35 points. He was drafted in the first round in 2029. So if you give him a chance on the third pair with the veteran Filip Hronek on his right, who has regressed to an 80 overall, probably not a bad idea. So it's sad to see Hronek at an 80 getting paid $8.25 million, but he still has a lot of value for this team, and he has a perfect fit on the third pair as well, which is very nice to see. Now, if we were to mix and match a little bit, where Dobson does not play top pair, anyone who plays with Hughes would be a 0 or a negative. Other question to also keep in mind is if we were to move Arvidsson off and maybe move Quint up, it would be +4, +1, +1, as opposed to +4, -1, +1. Hronek would also give a +1 on the second pair. So we can, is a -1 the end of the world? I don't think so. It's more the concept of having 2 offensive defensemen. So there's the idea of the defense. And goaltending, Hunter Jones, 85 overall, coming off of a runner-up to the Vezina Trophy, you would think. Backed up by 81 overall. There's a little bit of growth. Rainer Muller. Now the scratches, we see Ruslan Krevchenko has grown to a 79 overall. He's listed as a top 6D, he's medium elite, and he has a decent enough fit, especially on pair 1 and pair 2. 3-star defense now, 5-star puck skills as a defensive defenseman, 1.5-star skating, 4.5-star shooting. I don't know what to say about this guy. Should we give him another year in the AHL? He's only spent one. Yeah, it was just his first season in the AHL last year. 31 points in 70 games. Do we give him another year and then say, okay, next year guaranteed you slot in for Filip Hronek? I don't even know if we're guaranteed moving Hronek, but that's probably what makes the most sense. So Kravchenko, would he come in now? Do we make him compete in the preseason? That's probably something we consider. So Kravchenko is one of those guys. Also in the system is Lebedev, also a 79 overall. Should we trade him and his 1.1 million if he's just never going to get the chance? Doesn't have good chemistry fit. Should we just cut him loose? And then for 13th forward at the moment would be Raphael Beaulieu, the 76 overall enforcer, last pick of the 2027 draft. Do we keep him in there? Or now, he was a 78 or 79, wasn't he, when he played last season? Now, since going back to the AHL and everything, he's to a 76. So we could have Beaulieu as 13th forward. There's also Bomek at a 76. Zykov up to a 77. Arcabello's at a 77. That's nice. Beaufet, Perjoga, not a lot of growth there. And on defense, we see Benino, Naslin to a 77. Markstrom, Alexandrov. We'll make sure the ice time is well dispersed, but there is the situation for the forwards and defense. Bykov, 21, 73, medium elite. Esch, 22, 72, medium elite. So I would think Edward Esch is the odd man out here, so that Kabanov, 20, 67, medium elite, can get in as backup in the AHL. So there are some things for you to consider when it comes to your suggestions. So I'll leave the lineup like that. Nothing else to say on my part. You can think about what you want to put in your comment down here on YouTube or on the Discord server, link in the description. Now, if we look at our trade values and trade blocks and all that, keep in mind here's the trade value that we're playing with. Unsigned player in Voinov and Backman. We haven't signed them yet. Of course, we just got Backman as well. But there's the trade value that we're playing with, if anyone really stands out to you. Remember the draft pick situation. We have a first, 3 seconds, 2/3, a fourth, and a sixth. So we don't need to do anything with that right now, but we can definitely weaponize the that draft pick capital. If you look at the players on the blocks now, heading into the first half of year number 10, exciting time, sorting by overall, some prospects here in Anaheim. Arizona has Gabe Vilardi, Kotkaniemi, Frost, a few NHL caliber players on the block. The Bruins have nobody. Buffalo, prospects, Calgary, Suzdalev, Tuck, Frederick, Schneider, a lot of mid-range players. Carolina has Natchez still on the block, yes. Now down to an 87, though. He was an 89, now he's down to an 87 with top 9 potential at 33 years of age. Oof, don't like that. Luostarinen, Guindon, etc. Chicago prospects, Colorado prospects, Columbus prospects, Dallas prospects, Detroit, Sider, Lucas Raymond on an expiring deal. Do we bring in another Swede in Lucas Raymond? We were thinking about that at one point. Is he the Owen Tippett replacement? He seems to be a 60, 70, even sometimes 80-point guy as well. He is a two-way forward who simulates as a playmaker, it seems like, with his 95 passing. Would we want that in our top 6? We can always scout him and think about it a little bit more. The Red Wings are sellers, so we'd have to give them more than just Tippett. Maybe we give them some of our draft pick value now that we know it's going to be a bit of a weaker class. There's a question. Marco Casper, Barrett Hayton, Dylan Larkin. So this is really something interesting to me. That's a major point for anyone who's going to leave some suggestions. Sean Farrell, Taylor Yamamoto, Chikrin, Anderson, etc. on the block. Some good players. Some decent expiring options as well here in Edmonton. Florida, nobody. LA Kings, Shillington, Haig, and a few other names. Minnesota, nothing crazy. Montreal prospects. Nashville, nobody. New Jersey prospects. Islanders, Sanheim, and Nyes. Rangers, Keandre Miller on a 4-year deal. Minchikov on a 4-year deal. Then some other players down the list. Ottawa, Samuelson, this guy, 76 overall, 20 years old. Medium elite, 14th overall pick in 2030. Two-way forward on the block here. Hasn't spent any time in North America yet. Currently signed for the AHL for this season, though. Even this guy, Datsuk, Oleg Datsuk, power forward, former first-round pick, 32nd overall. Not great numbers in Belleville. Oh my goodness, not good at all, but limited ice time for the 6'5" power forward. Let me know if you want to see anybody else. We can look at Forrest, Gabriel Forrest, another power forward. But again, if there's anyone that catches your eye, want to know more about, let me know, leave a comment, and I'll get you more further information. All right, so there's Ottawa. A lot of good prospects for the Senators. Probably the best prospect pool of players on the block. Broberg and Sampson in Philadelphia. No one in Pittsburgh. San Jose, a few names. Seattle prospects. Pressburg, Johan Pressburg, playmaker, 7th overall pick in 2032. Yeah, he just got drafted. No, we can't do that yet. Snuggeroo in St. Louis, 86 overall expiring deal for the sniper with 5-star shooting. Jimmy Snuggeroo, not getting a lot of ice time in his playing history here with the St. Louis Blues, but still a 40-50 point guy. Right winger, again, another option for Owen Tippett potentially. We can always wait till the halfway point. Don't got to do it now, but good to have options. Sergachev, Poirier, Yurchek, Forsling, Mahura, etc. on the block in Tampa Bay. Maple Leafs, a few prospects. Vegas, etc. This guy's Schroeder. Another Maximus Schroeder, 6'5", two-way D, 6th overall pick in 2031. Okay. Washington, some prospects, and Winnipeg, finally some prospects there as well. Actually, a fair amount of prospects here for the Jets. Whew, so there you have it. Okay, probably the very last thing to look at would be looking at free agency, if anyone's still out here. Sorting by overall. No, nothing crazy. So we'll find a few players to fill in the blanks in the AHL, but nothing really standing out, nothing crazy. Maybe this guy Henry can join the team. What's his name? Melvin Henry. What a guy. First round pick in 2025. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, there is the 2032 draft and off season. Relatively uneventful, but now we're moving into year number 10, 2032-33 with a vengeance after losing in round 2 in the way that we did last year in 7 games. We know that we're a very good team. We know that we won 57 games last year, franchise record. We can come right back and do it again. Do we need more stability in that bottom 6? Who do we want to see auditions from in the preseason? Anybody getting called up potentially as well? Defense is going to be a big question mark for us, especially with Kravchenko up to a 79 overall. A lot of question marks in the defense, especially with the chemistry as well. Can Hughes and Dobson play together? A lot to think about. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you there. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and of course, subscribe if you haven't already for our 4 ongoing franchise mode series, as we're live Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and the Canucks are always running in between. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch. I'm looking forward to reading all your thoughts and seeing you once again in the next one as we begin our 10th season in Vancouver.